Jika tahun 2024 adalah tahun pilihan raya, bagi tahun 2025 pula akan menjadi tahun persoalan. Persoalan yang akan diajukan kepada pemimpin-pemimpin yang terpilih, persoalan yang perlu mereka jawab. Dr. Samir Saran, Presiden Observer Research Foundation, meneroka 5 isu mendesak yang membentuk landscape global.
And what are those big questions? One of the big questions is peace and security. There's a clear failure visible to all of us, be it in the European continent, the whole continent, be it in the Middle East, in Africa, in other parts of the world. In 2023, we have witnessed more conflict than we have witnessed ever since 1945. And in some sense, peace and security is a question, and what should be the arrangements to manage it too. We are also seeing a very visible economic deglobalization or some form of that in our midst. We are seeing nationalist industrial policies, not by the developing world and the emerging markets that were prone to doing this, but we are seeing this by the big actors. The Inflation Reduction Act in the US privileges American companies, American manufacturing over others. The carbon border adjustment mechanism in Europe. And of course, shades of that all over the world. We are seeing that there is a fatigue with open markets and open borders, and all of us are looking at national instruments to benefit our own local industries and local economies. And in that sense, is globalization worth defending? What can be done to defend it is a big question for the leaders who are now going to be assuming office in 2025 or who have just recently assumed office in the past few months. Climate action. We have witnessed the hottest year in 2023, and we are just not seeing enough flow of money to the first responders. Who are the first responders? If 2/3 of global emissions are going to come from the developing and emerging world, it makes sense that 2/3 of climate finance must be deployed in that part of the globe. And if we are not seeing that, we are fooling ourselves in our battle against climate change. So that big question, can we put new energy and can we put cash on the front lines? Can money be focused on the front lines of climate action? I think how do we do that? How can we build arrangements for that is something that we need to respond to. Technology and AI. And, it was one of the biggest instruments of decentralizing capabilities, industry, entrepreneurship, businesses. We saw the production of unicorns in hundreds and thousands around the world, of course, largely concentrated in a few parts, but we saw the ability of the internet and the digital world to empower and enable small and medium businesses to flourish, either in the online spaces or offline. Now with AI and the large amounts of computing capabilities that you require, the big data sets that are necessary, are we going to see a shrinking of that space? Are the winners of the industrialization 3.0 the ones who have all the data sets, the ones who have capabilities and infrastructure and hardware, those who have data centers, are they going to dominate? Are we seeing a recession of decentralized growth? I think the whole notion of sovereignty, the importance of nation states, of political units is up for grabs. Armies are invading borders. And that is a clear affront to the conception of the rules-based order that we have held so dear since 1945. But that is only one part of it. Digital intrusions, economic weaponization of economic instruments, of payment systems, of trading systems, of cultural systems, of sporting events. All that was earlier used for people to connect, people to engage and interact. Countries need technology platforms for existential purposes. Countries need banks and economic systems and payment systems to serve populations. And if they are denied this, it could amount to an infringement of the right to self-govern and sovereignty. And in many ways, sovereignty is itself something that needs to be re-understood in our contemporary times, at a time when technology has evolved, when economic integration is so deep, when reliance on certain institutions that did not exist when it was discussed in 1945 has become crucial. And that is the fifth question that we believe is important for the leaders to answer.
Dr. Samir menegaskan model antarabangsa dan institusi pelbagai hala dunia miliki kini sudah mempunyai asas yang kukuh. Masalahnya ialah pemegang kuasa dan peranan yang mereka mainkan.
The problem is who sits there? Why are they sitting there? And what is the purpose of the role that they play? And I think those need to be redefined. Who sits on the high table, and how is the seats on the high table allocated? What is the purpose of those who sit on the high table? And in some sense, who are they accountable to, and who are they responsive to? Becomes the question of our time. I think the institutions are important, even more important. I think the ethics and the governance structures of the institutions need dramatic reform. And it has to begin with the Security Council. It is the most visible and perverse international body that exists today.
Menurut Dr. Samir, persoalan utama kepada dunia ialah apakah bentuk tadbir urus abad ke-21. Permasalahan dunia saling berkait. Model tadbir urus yang moden, inklusif dan adaptif sangat diperlukan untuk menangani cabaran masa kini dengan berkesan.
Actually, it is a single question on what is the governance for the 21st century. In the digital age, in an age of participation of billions of people in every conversation, courtesy the social media platforms that allow everyone to have a say, governance needs to be redefined. And in some sense, these are issues that implicate and are affected by each other. And these are just 5, by the way. We could have 5 more. We could have health, and we could have nature and ecosystems, the bio-ecosystems. They are all interconnected issues. It is the governance that needs focus, and the governance that we have today was designed in 1945, and it certainly looks its age. I see possibilities. I see possibilities for 7 billion, 6 billion humans to change their lives dramatically in the next 4 to 5 years, driven by technology, driven by green energy, driven by climate investments that will lift local populations. And that's a great possibility. You have seen what investments and innovation can do. So there is huge possibility to change lives forever. Will it happen is the big question. The risk is, can we find it within ourselves? Can we find leadership? Can we find politics that will allow money to cross borders, innovation to reach people, and opportunities to be grabbed by all? And I think that's the big question for the year ahead.